Hello everyone, hope you're doing well and welcome to the introduction of CSS. So we have completed the HTML5 course. So now we are going to start from the introduction of CSS. So if you didn't watch that video, the link is at the description. You can watch that complete course. Before jumping on to the main point, if you didn't subscribe my YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon so you'll get the notification of my new video when I upload it. If you have any question, any suggestion, please leave a comment below. Alright, so let's get started. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Is used to format the layout of a web page. With CSS, you can control the colors, the fonts, the size of a text, the space between elements, how elements are positioned and layout, what background image or background colors are to be used, different displays for different devices and screen size. The word cascading means the style applied to a parent element will also apply to the child elements within the parents. So if you set the color of the body text to blue, all heading paragraphs and other text elements within the body will also get the same color unless you specify something else. CSS can be added to HTML documents in three ways. First, inline by using the style attribute inside HTML elements, internal by using the style elements in the head section, external by using the link element to link to an external CSS file. The most common way to add CSS is to keep the style an external. However, this is because if you want to add changes in one page, that changes will be added in all other pages at the same time, so you don't need to add changes in every different pages. First, let's talk about the inline CSS. An inline CSS is used to apply the unique style to a single HTML element. An inline CSS, the style attribute of an HTML element. The following example sets the background color. So this background color will just add it to this h1 tag. So the second topic is internal CSS. An internal CSS is used to define a style for a single HTML page. An internal CSS is defined the head section. As you can see, this is the head section here, and the internal style is going to be added using the style element inside this head section, not outside the head section, inside this head section. So an internal CSS is defined in the head section of an HTML page with the style elements. So as you can see, the following example sets the color of all h1 and p elements to the blue and red color. If you have another element with h1 and p, this design will be applied for them as well. So now let's talk about the external CSS. An external style sheet is used to define the style for many HTML pages. To use an external style sheet, you can use this link for your every single HTML page. That's it. The external style sheet can be written in any text editor. The file must not contain any HTML code and must be saved with a .css extension. So as you can see, this way our CSS sheet looks like. With style will be its name and .css is its extension. So in CSS sheet, we cannot add the HTML elements or tags. We just only use the CSS there. So now let's use this. So let's jump over to the code. So first, let's start from inline CSS. So let me create the h1 element, and here I'm going to type something. Heading. So for inline CSS, as we already used this in our previous video in HTML course. So for using the inline CSS, you can just write inside the element style attribute, and inside the double quotation you can add the style that you want to add in your every single HTML element. So for this, I'm going to add the color will be a red. Now let's save this and let's refresh the page. And as you can see, the text is changed and the color is applied to the h1 element. So this is called the inline. Internal CSS is used when you want to apply some changes inside the HTML page. So now let me test this as well. So this is simple paragraph. Let's save this. For using the internal CSS, you need to add the style element inside the opening head tag and closing head tag. Inside the head tag, you need to type the style attribute, not style attribute, style element, and remove all other attributes, default attributes. And here you're going to target the element that you want to add the style into it. So for now, I'm going to add the style into P element. So for this, I'm going to target the P element and opening and closing brackets, and inside these brackets I'm going to add the style that I want to add in P element. So for this, I'm going to add the color. So for adding the color into a text, I'm going to use the color with colon, and then I'm going to apply the color to add the color blue, and at the end make sure to add the semicolon. And let's add the border, or we can add the font family or font size. To increase the font size, we need to add font size, and here we can increase or decrease the size of our font element, or whatever element you want to increase the size. So for this, I'm going to save this, and now let's refresh the page. So as you can see, this is the paragraph that we have added the style inside this internal, using the internal CSS. So this is the use of internal CSS, but the disadvantage of internal CSS is that if you are creating a real world website and your website has many web pages, so you need to add this style into every single web page. So this is the disadvantage of using the internal CSS. You need to add, or you need to apply these changes into every single web page. But the using of external CSS, let me show you this. First, let's create another file here and let's save this. And if you want to use the external CSS, make sure to save the HTML file and your CSS file at the same folder. So let's name this style.css. If they are not inside the same folder, this will not work. And don't forget to add the .css extension. You can choose the name whatever you use for your style sheet, but don't forget to add the CSS extension. Now let's save this. So here we go, our CSS file is created. Now let's remove this internal CSS and let's save this. Now let's add the same changes into the CSS style sheet, the external CSS style sheet. So here I'm going to use the color for my, let's target the P element, and inside opening and closing brackets I'm going to use the color blue. Color value will be blue and the font size will be 60 as I used before. So now let's save this. If I refresh this, for now it will not work because I didn't link my CSS file with HTML. For making the connection between CSS and HTML, you need to use the link element. So for using the link element, make sure to use this inside the head element. Just write link and press enter. So the attribute real will be style sheet and href. Inside the href, we are going to write the name of our CSS file. So this will be a style.css. CSS. Don't forget to add the CSS extension. Let's save this. Now let's jump over to the file and let's refresh this. So as you can see, this work the same as the internal CSS that we have used. It's good to use the external CSS because if you want to add the changes into one element, these changes will be applied to the whole website or other web pages as well. This is the advantage of using the external CSS. So hope you understand. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to subscribe this YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you'll get the notification of my new video when I upload them.